Well, welcome back everybody then to the single-seater playthrough of Motorsport Manager. And our first points last time out, a much more impressive race than the opener. 4th place for Eka and 3 points on the board. Means that we're in our target position of 7th at the moment. So hopefully we can continue to push forward from here. We now have the 8th quickest car as well. And I feel, you know, we've said this before, it's got to be a growing season for Munro. And once he gets hopefully somewhere onto the level of Eka, then we should be able to challenge for points with both cars, I'm hoping. But let's continue on with the day then. No mistakes from the pit crew last time out. Now, every time I say, oh, right before the race, we've got to go back and see how their stamina have recovered and then change out the pit crew, and I keep forgetting to do it. So I need to remember to do that this time. The other thing I was going to do before we start the episode, we talked about this in the live stream I did of the endurance playthrough. I've actually already changed it actually, but I thought I'd go over it. So the AI driver level was actually -10, which I had no idea this was even a thing. And it shows us, so it shows you how good we are at this game, that we still haven't managed to improve. We're still struggling sometimes in races, even though they're on -10. So we're going to leave that for the moment. But I have changed race strategy to realistic. And what that should do is mean that the AI make less stupid mistakes with their tyre choices. And we've had some races where it's felt like they've just gifted us positions and points, and in some cases wins, just because they get the wrong tyre strategy. So I've not tried realistic, but hopefully it will make enough of a difference that those stupid mistakes, and we don't get gifted positions we haven't earned, which seems a little bit cheaty sometimes. So we have a new gearbox on the way, so I think we'll leave everything as is at the moment. Actually no, we'll change the rear wing and the front wing onto the 2 new suspensions, because they got the... This keeps changing. This slider, every time you change these options, it changes to maximum on performance or maximum reliability. Does anyone know why it does that? Because it really, really grinds my gears. It really does. I have to keep changing it. I'm sure there's a few occasions that we've missed it. Right, so we've got one more sponsor slot now opened up. And wow, we've got a 4-star sponsor then. Hypertech will give us 500,000 up front and $500,000 per race. That's definitely the better option than Shield. And we're finally starting to get some big sponsors. That's, I think, the second big sponsor after Kashima, who were only 3-star to be fair. That is our first 4-star sponsor. Now that we've got this better marketability because of Munro, it's really starting to pay dividends once these run out. So once our 3 race bonus sponsors run out as well, hopefully we'll be able to get some more 4-star sponsors on board, which is good news for our bank balance. And it means, yes, we're now going to have a base level of $500,000 per race, which I was getting a little worried we weren't going to be able to continue the high rate of development that we've been doing early on this season. But this confirms that hopefully we should be able to, which was the plan. So I'm hoping we can continue going forward all the way through the season, and then possibly we might be able to challenge for race wins and the title next year. So one gearbox is now finished. We will make another one. There we go, reliability and +40 to max. And we'll see if we can get the other gearbox ready in time. So it starts on 50%, 55% reliability. We should be able to get that ready, to be fair. So I think I'll switch that front wing over to that one, and we'll switch this rear wing onto that gearbox, and we'll switch the performance onto the new gearbox over there. Perfect. Right, hopefully we'll have a nice spanking new gearbox to put on one of the cars for the next race as we continue through. Not quite sure why it stopped there, probably because this race is going on, which I couldn't give a crap about the results at the moment, about the Formula 1, thank you. 10 days, let's give it a couple more and then we'll go back to the parts and maybe change some of the reliabilities around. So I think we'll change this front wing over to the brakes, and everything else looks good. Still a lot of improvement to be made in those gearboxes and suspension, so we'll keep that as is until the race then. And say, we're going to be relying heavily on Eka for these first few races, I'm sure. But hopefully Monroe improves quickly enough. He's a sim racing enthusiast. Good man. As all these young drivers seem to be. It's going to increase his overtaking and his marketability. Good. Doesn't say which sim he races in, but good to know he does. As long as it's not something like Dirt Rally or... No, Dirt Rally's good actually. Or something like Dirt Grid 2. Or like the original Toka Racing. I'm not sure he'll get too much use out of those. I'm sure it's something like R Factor. It's like when I see Max Verstappen playing Project Cars 2 for videos that he's done with certain news agencies and stuff. And I think, really, Max? Project Cars? You could race anything you want, although he does race R Factor quite a lot as well, which is much better. Right, we're ready then for the next race. We'll go with Wai-Chan again, 9th or above, and now with this new sponsor it means we're going to be making $500,000 per race, and that sponsor objective is just going to be a bonus. But we have the potential then to make almost $1 million per race, which is much more like what we were getting last 2 seasons ago when we were in the lower division. So we're getting back to where we need to be. That new gearbox, perfectly happy to use that. We're going to give it to Eka though, and we'll give Monroe Eka's gearbox. Should give us a nice improvement over the board. And the other suspension is ready as well. It's a little bit higher, so we will... I'm going to keep giving these parts to Monroe, purely because firstly he's still a reserve. I don't know how we change that. I presume when we renegotiate the contract. His cornering's really bad at 1. I wonder if we're actually losing out bonuses of anything. If there's any, consequences to him not being an actual race driver and just being a reserve. Let me know if you know that. But generally, we're going to keep giving Eka the better car to begin with, just until Monroe starts showing signs of improvement. So, as always, I'm going to get practice done, and I shall be back with you shortly for qualifying. Okay, into qualifying then. Practice went not too bad. Not as good as setups as I'd like. Only 95 for Eka. 95 for Monroe, 94 for Eka. Hopefully we can get somewhere near that top 10. I think it's unlikely we're going to get that 9th position in qualifying to get that bonus, but it's not quite as crucial now that we've got that $500,000 coming in from the sponsors. So hopefully we can have a fairly decent qualifying anyway and set ourselves up well for the race. Eka looks on top form, 9.8 at the moment, 9.9, and could possibly hit 10. Absolute perfect weekend for her so far then. There it is, 10 on the form rating. And with the better part she's got, even 1% less setup, I would expect her to easily out-qualify Monroe here. And this is going to be the main sort of feeler we've got for how well Monroe improves over the season. Obviously during a race anything can happen, it's never quite a straight fight between teammates, so it's difficult to compare. But qualifying, definitely we should be able to see any improvements that Monroe starts making. So 4 attempts between them on their first run, 47.8 for Eka, 48.2 for Monroe. Looking pretty competitive from Eka. Monroe I'd expect to fall a bit further down the order with that time. Of course we'll have a second run and we will find out. Of course we are in the desert. This is essentially Bahrain as a track, so really don't expect any rain this weekend. It's incredibly unlikely, if not impossible, to be honest. Does it even rain? They got trees, I guess it must rain at some point in Bahrain. Actually it's all like artificial almost at Bahrain, the actual Bahrain. There's very little greenery at all. Right, I've lost my mouse, which is not great. These are the kind of moments I should cut, but keep them in for realism for you. Just having to plug back in. One problem with a wireless mouse, you never want that to happen during an online game because it sucks big time. Anyway, we'll send our guys out for second run. Eka currently standing 9th. So, there is a chance we can get that objective. If she can find a little bit more time, or nobody else improves, then she might just sneak into that top 10, which would be a great result. Monroe, on the other hand, is down in P17, and I'd expect him to hopefully find a bit more time to lift him up that order. But of course, it depends on what everybody else does as well. Eka has got that wider sweet spot as a mechanic perk as well, so that will of course help her in qualifying. Could equate to some of the time between the two, but we'll see. Monroe seems to be improving as the session goes on in terms of his form, and generally I've found the form works fairly well. If the drivers are on better form, they do tend to do a little bit of a better job. It hasn't been massively noticeable, I'll be honest. I've had some people out racing other people that are Form 1 and Form 10 sometimes, so it's definitely not the be all and end all. But Eka going really rather fast at the moment through the first sector. We'll see if that time holds through the second. So she's lost a little bit of time, but she's on for a massive improvement here. Monroe 3 attempts down. Might be the last sector where we're losing all the time though. So as Eka comes up to the line, she goes P3. What a lap. Monroe goes P7. And this of course could mean because of the track rubbering up, but there's not many more times to come in. And one more. Zoranti crosses the line, doesn't improve, so it's P7 and P10 for our two drivers. That's a cracking result. So we do get the sponsor objective. We get that little bit of money in the bank. And we have a great starting position to maybe challenge for some points in the race. Of course, top 6 only score points, so it's still going to be tough. But that's a great qualifying. And just 3 attempts, so Monroe did improve and get a little bit closer to Eka, and Eka improved her time massively as well. Right place at the right time, or just two drivers that are good at qualifying? I feel they've done pretty good so far this season. This ungrateful little git here, Lenny Orting. Try spending less money on helicopters and jacuzzis and more on your cars, Jamie. If only you knew, Lenny. You should spend some more on haircuts, boy. Oh, burn. That was terrible. I'm never going to do that again. Right, on to the race then. So minimum objective will be that P9 just to get that money in the bank. But I would hope we can challenge for some points here. Now, do we go mediums or do we go nurse? I think we go nurse with Eka. Just look after her car a little bit more. I feel that'd be worth more over the course of the race. And we'll do the same with Monroe for engine expert. I think purely because even though we've got spec engines, if we can do anything to reduce the wear on them, it's going to be advantageous over the rest of the grid. So we're going to start Eka on the soft tyres. They should do 9 to 11 laps. I might go for a different strategy on Monroe for a change. I might put him on the hard tyres. What are we expecting out the softs? 9 to 11. So we'll put 11 laps in. I'll put 12 just in case she somehow finds a way of going a bit further into this race. Now, say I want to do a different strategy with Monroe. Do we go full different strategy and go hard tyres? And we probably might be able to get away with just a one-stop strategy if we do hards, mediums, or even hards. I'm going to start Monroe on hards and see how it goes. He's got a good grid position. I feel we have to try something a little bit different with him sometimes. And we've got the license to if Eka has a good race. So we'll put 20 laps of fuel in and see how far he can take them. Of course, expecting very high wear here. So hard tyres could be very useful. But we just got to make sure we look after them to go the distance. And a few on medium tyres. And there are a couple of cars on hards as well, mostly towards the rear of the field. So I feel we're spreading our strategies nicely here. So we're underway then. Race number 3 of the season. A pretty dreadful start from Eka there, and a good start from Monroe. Lifts him one position to 9th. And looks for a way past his teammate. And he does make that move stick. That's not great for our two drivers. Because Munro should be a slower car on those hard tyres. Alright, we're going to go back to medium on the fuel pretty early. And we're going to go neutral on the tyres and just see how they look after them for the first couple of laps. It's incredibly hot out there, so we're probably going to have to go conservative on at least the soft tyres, I would think. Eka manages to squeeze her way back through Munro, and unfortunately Munro can't be a rear gunman for long as he lets past Milakovic, although Munro gets that move done again. So tyres look okay. I think these softs are starting to overheat though on Eka's car. We should give it a couple of more laps. If it continues to stay a little bit higher, we might go back to conserve. But we'll see if she can get past the cars ahead on neutral first, and if she can't, then we can back them off. Yeah, I think they are overheating, so we're going to go conserve on those soft tyres. Even the hards are staying hot. Hot hards. Hard hots. Right. Both cars looking pretty comfortable in 8th and 9th there. Munro's made a little gap on those behind. Only one car behind him is on the soft tyres. There's a few medium runners, but most of them on the hard tyres. So Eka needs to gap this group with those ahead of her, and if she can string Munro along for the ride, then that would be good news. But all in all, pretty good start. These softs are still overheating a bit. I'm just going to go to back up and try and get that temperature right down. Even the hard tyres are really struggling. And none of the AI are doing that. So if we can just cool them off and look after them a bit better, then we should be able to go a bit further distance. All of the AI is still pushing incredibly hard on the fuel, which might explain the gap between Eka and the cars in front of her. It doesn't really explain how Munro is able to stay ahead of this whole group, considering they're all on the highest fuel mode. So Munro holding his own very well and showing good pace here, even without the engine turned up. So the hard tyres are overheating as well, so maybe we'll go back up on both cars, just try and keep the temperatures under control. But that is putting Munro under pressure now from the cars behind. Once again beats them off into turn 1 and makes a little gap for himself in the middle sector. So it's going to be crucial to get his strategy right. Eka is definitely creating a gap now as Munro's backing these guys up, being conservative. Right, we'll go back to neutral on Eka now. We've taken some of that temperature out, and she can hopefully be a little bit more aggressive for a couple of laps. Munro still waiting for those tyre attempts to go down. I think we will go back to neutral though, just to see if he can pick the pace back up again to avoid being swamped. As soon as he gets while he's the lead man in this midfield, he can control the pace and the strategy. As soon as he gets back into that mob, then he's in trouble. In terms of points, Eka struggling for pace by the looks of it, and the fact that she can't catch Clocksmith ahead, who's on mediums, shows that. But she is looking after the tyres a lot better than the rest of the AI that are also on the softs, so we should be able to go a few laps extra, but it will lose us track time probably. So we'll see how we feel about staying out versus undercutting later on. So they're at 36% at the moment. She doesn't actually have any new sets of soft tyres. Of course, we've got a lot less tyres available this year, which is proving a problem in the soft department. And we only get 3 of each compound. We can't choose the distribution at the moment in the rules. So she's starting to complain about worn tyres. I feel like we can go a few more laps. as the rest of the AI pit then. She goes up to P2. So we want to stay out a bit longer than these guys. Now, I worry a little bit about Monroe getting 20 laps out of those hards. I think Eka is going to have to 2-stop. So I think we'll bring her in early and we'll put some mediums on. And it'll probably be a double medium stint. 2 medium stints for Eka. So we'll put 11 laps of fuel in the car. Actually, no, we want to go a little bit longer than that if we can. We'll put 13 and take them as far as we can. Car looking okay. So I feel she could go another lap after this, but because a lot of those that are pitted are going to be fighting and maybe stuck in traffic, this might be a good time to get in and get out again, hopefully not lose too much time. Monroe really struggling with those hard tyres. They're now overheating on neutral, so we'll go straight to back up and hopefully they will cool back down quickly enough. And Eka's going to come back out probably at the rear of this field. No mistakes in the pit stop, 13 seconds, all very, very close with Lundqvist. And she gets back out in P17 then, provisionally. So we'll keep an eye on the tyre temps and see if she can make her way through. Might use a little bit of fuel early on just to see if she can get past these two. So Lundqvist is being held up by Shah here on the hard tyres, I would imagine. So this probably is the best time to attack. Go back to conserve with Monroe. He's more than happy leading that group of hard tyre runners at the moment. And I'm pretty confident Monroe's only going to do a 1-stop here. So this is going to be a tale of 2 races, really. Yep. Medium's overheating. Let's go back up, get those temperatures down as soon as we can. I'll probably turn that fuel back down. It's not really working. What will be better, the 2 or the 1-stop? There's about 3 or 4 seconds between our 2 cars before they pitted, so it'll be interesting to see which is the better strategy here. Monroe, of course, leading at the moment. And you'd have to think, if everybody that's already pitted, first of which is Vidal in 3rd, has got to make another stop. So provisionally, because we're the first of the 1-stoppers, provisionally leading it, and I think those guys doing 2s are going to have to pass Monroe if they're going to win this race or get points. So Monroe's in a strong position here, and with these hard tyres holding up as well as they are, to be fair, they're really not holding up very well. I'm saying that, we're only 11 laps in. If we can take them to lap 15, we can strap another set on. Are they going to last that long? I'm not sure at this point. So Eka's got past Shah at last, but Shah is not exactly, she's not exactly running away from her. Lundqvist is 3 seconds down the road now. And it's definitely going to be a 2-stop for Eka. And we have to decide pretty soon with Monroe whether we're just going to cut his losses and go for a 2-stop, or if we're going to try for that 1. Now there was, I think it was the Haas video, there was a comment, nice comment that gave me the rundown of when each compound falls off the cliff. And Monroe should be able to go to about 5-10%, maybe even 10, maybe even 5. Before he drops off that cliff. So I feel we can get to lap 15. You know, Vidal, who's already made a stop, and Cruz aren't exactly flying. It's still 2.1 seconds back to Vidal. Actually 2.5 now. So Monroe is showing some cracking pace. Right, we're going to go back to neutral with Eka. We can probably push for a bit. Actually, we've cooled those medium tyres way too much. So I think we test it out with Monroe. We go as long as we can. He's got plenty of fuel. We overfueled him. Massive. Safety car. That's a bit irritating. Right, I would have liked to have gone a couple more laps, but considering those tyres have done 13, 14 when they pit, and they've still got 22%, I'm sure we can get to the end on hards, another set. So we'll fuel him up until the end, and just hope, really. Now the question is now, do we do the same with Eka? Because we could technically pit Eka now and get to the end on another set of hard tyres. Is she going to be as good as looking after her tyres though? Or do we just put another... do we just leave her out and see what happens? I feel we stick with her strategy. We'll stick with Eka's strategy. Because if those hard tyres somehow don't make... let's turn the fuel back down, by the way. There's no point using it at the moment. Because if the hard tyres somehow don't work out, then we've got both cars stuck on them. So I feel we may as well split the strategies. Still, although Eka's actually exited behind Monroe. So Monroe's in a great position here. 2 cars ahead of him have got to stop. The main danger is Kirishima behind. I think we've made a mistake, but I think we can probably rectify it. But Eka will go to the back of the grid. This is really tricky. No, we've made our bed. We'll line it. We'll line it with Eka. I think we made a mistake. I think we should bring her in and go to the end on hard tyres. Oh, this is tough. I've really overheated these mediums as well. Let's just do it. Let's go on to hards and fuel her to the end. We should have made that decision 1 lap earlier. But such is life, hey? Such is life. Let's hope she can take him to the end. So she'll go to the back of the field. There's some guys on mediums that might struggle to get to the end there, and there's quite a few people that have got to stop again. So we'll see. We'll see how this turns out for us. We'll go up to speed 12, which is a nice endurance feature I do like during safety cars. Let's remember to slow it down just before to turn the fuel back up. Okay, fuel back up to... we've got a bit of excess fuel. Let's go hard to begin with and stay conserved on the tyres and see how we get on. But Monroe's in the driving seat here, and he's really going to show us how good he is and how much potential he's got as to how he controls this race. He's already left a huge gap to those cars ahead, which is a big no-no on the restart, and he's caused an absolute pile-up into turn 1 almost. Might be a good opportunity for Eka to get through. Maybe that's some team orders we don't know about. There goes Surikov even. And I think Monroe's going to start getting swamped, but I'm not too bothered. I don't think there's anyone else here. There's a couple of hard tyre runners that might get to the end. But generally, most of these guys have got to stop again. So we're in a good position. Eka back up to P12 already. Maybe going a little bit too slow on these hard tyres. Engine and gearbox looking okay on both cars, so we'll probably stay in a higher fuel mode for the moment while we're in these tight confines of the pack. And Eka up to P10 then. She's making her way through nicely. And we may have made the change too late for Eka, but she's still got a great chance of having a good result here. The only problem is this pack. Because anybody that is making their final stop is going to catch back up pretty quickly because everybody's fighting in this pack, which is slowing everybody down. Tyres looking good. We have got excess fuel. I think we'll go back down to medium now, just to look after the engine a little bit. Just leave us a bit for the end if we need it. Turning it down has meant that Echo's lost 2 positions immediately. She gets one of them back then, up to P11. This is what I mean, we're just losing too much time in this group. And you can see Vidal, who's made a late stop, is already almost onto the back of this group. Monroe's at the front of it, which is the best place to be, but he's not running away. He doesn't need to. He just needs to take it a bit easy. He's overheating those tyres a little bit, so we'll go back to conserve, which seems to be the best setting to stay on in this race. And it'd be pretty interesting if we made the best strategy calls, even when we've changed that AI's decision to realistic. If we've outsmarted the entire field here, we'll see. The only cars that can get to the end, as far as I can see, are Tyler, Vidal and Lundqvist at the moment, and they're all behind our 2 drivers. Diostra might in P9. Don't know how long the medium tyres the AI can take them. People like Batista, Sorokiv and Kuroshima probably on about 60% tyre life right now. Can they get to the end? Can they do 9 laps on those? They might be able to, you know. But we should be quicker on the hard tyres. It's going to be interesting, this one. Stick around to the end, folks. We're in for a barnstormer. Now, you see, Cruz and Sorokiv have definitely got to stop again. They've made a big old gap on Monroe. I would say still not enough of a gap. There we go. Cruz is pissing and drops all the way back to 13th then. Monroe promoted to 2nd. Ecker up to P11. Has actually just been overtaken by Cruz. Straight out of the pits. We're going to use a bit of fuel and we're going to go back to neutral with Ecker. She's really struggling in this midfield. And this is hurting our race because it means that those that are starting to pit their 2nd stop are going to be onto the back of her within a lap or 2. And she really needs a gap on them. So Monroe's got that nice little group behind him. And Cruz is currently 6 seconds behind, who is technically the race lead, theoretically. And now Cruz is going to start getting held up behind this group. Interesting. Right, gearbox is pretty low for Monroe. I don't really want to push his fuel too much. Ecker looking after it a lot more. And she has broken that group now. Now that she's turned the fuel up and gone back to neutral, she is starting to run away a bit. And the tyre wear looking better than the first stint for Monroe, so I'm confident we can get to the end. Where are we going to be when we get to the end? That's the big question. Monroe, excuse me, never mean to clear my throat right in the... I was going to say, Monroe's doing a stunning job of holding people off. He's finally let Rodriguez pass. Rodriguez has got to stop again, surely. I apologise profusely. It's Kuroshima and Batista who I think might be able to stretch these mediums. We've got a lot more tyre life. So Monroe just needs to hold him off for a few more. He's doing a great job, but I think they're pitting. They're all pitting. Here we go then. Monroe into the net lead of the race. And Cruz and Sorokiv are his closest rivals. 6 seconds behind. With 5 laps to go. Right. His front wing's not looking great. Ecker is P5. And the cars behind don't look like they need to stop. So we're going to keep using that fuel for the moment. We're overheating Ecker's tyres quite badly. We need to turn those down quickly. She needs to get them under control and then get back on the gas. There is extra fuel from Monroe. I don't want to push that gearbox any harder than it needs to though. Ecker with her perk has got a lot more room to manoeuvre. Actually, I think it was Monroe that had the perk, but only on the engine. That's why his gearbox is wearing. And this is getting squeaky bum time now. Everything looks good, but these tyres could just drop off at the wrong moment. And there's plenty of life in them, it's just on pace. There's a lot of cars behind on much, much quicker tyres. This is... Sorokhiv has cut that gap to 3 seconds in just 2 laps. So the win, there's going to be an awful lot of pressure applied to Munro for the win. But he's got to be in with a shot of a podium here. Someone else has pitted. So Ecker's now up to P4. I think that was Diostra has now pitted down to P11. And Ecker can still see Cruz ahead. She's not out of this fight to go forward as well. And on the plus side, let's go back to conserve on her car. 3 laps to go. She can keep pushing on the fuel. Munro, that front wing is really going to start causing him issues. Pound just came off. Well, just diff lock magic flap setting B, Munro. You'll be okay. I really wish we could use that fuel because we could use that right now. Right, we've got a retirement. Mechanical issues for Nahez in P16. No concern of me at the moment. We're going to go back to neutral with Ecker because her tyres are cooled down sufficiently. She can keep pushing. This is the absolute acid test for Munro now. Injured car, limping home, heavily worn tyres, and he's still leading by 6 seconds. He's increased that gap over Cruz. He is absolutely flying out there, Munro. I think it maybe wasn't Cruz behind. Whoever it was, I think it was Diostra who was second, has pitted. Because Cruz has just taken 2 seconds out of that gap. Ecker is now P3 for some reason. She's passed Lundqvist, which I've missed on track. And we're on the final lap. We're going to go back down to normal speed. I don't want to say anything. I don't want to jinx this. This has been a world-beating result for our guys. Munro is cruising home. Don't say that. Don't say that. Commentator's curse. Munro is on 14% on his front wing. He's fine. He's fine. Even if it fell off now, he wouldn't lose 4 seconds, surely. We've got plenty of excess fuel for Ecker, so we may as well go flat out with her. I don't think she's going to catch Cruz though. She's nicely ahead of Lundqvist though. He's got a few corners to go. Hope you're all living this race with me. Ecker, low fuel. Yeah, she's got a lap to... This race engine is worse than Jeff. Yes, she's got a lap of fuel and 3 corners to go. Munro is going to cross the line to take his maiden win for the team. And has there ever been a more unexpected one than that? Ecker comes home P3. So it's a double podium. Race win. P3 for Ecker. Ecker even making that stop, so she could have won that race if we pitted her on the first lap of the safety car. I think she had more pace than Munro today, but stunning result. Stunning. Wow. I guess realistic mode isn't all it's set up to be. The AI made the wrong decisions there today. We outsmarted them. Munro, I think, I'm right in saying, the only person to do 1 stop. Yeah, only person. And that's what won in that race. 2 stints on the hard tyres. We thought it was a bit of a risk when the race started, but no, absolutely the right thing to do. Ecker P3. I just want to check. Yeah, it is on realistic. So maybe we do need to change this AI level. Because that was a bit... Hey, I think we did a great strategy. Look, we've been on the right we've been on this difficulty level for ages since they changed it, I think, which 1.50 was being told of 1.6 or something. And we just got the strategies perfect. Monroe drove an incredible race. He held off that group. That's what he did. He had 4 or 5 cars behind him for almost 10 laps on quicker tyres. And he held them up, stuck them in the dirty air. Meant they had to do another pit stop. There's a pole position bonus for Lundqvist. 2 extra points. It shouldn't be 2 points. That's a bit unfair. It means that Wieland actually outscore Eka. You know what? I don't care. We scored 14 points today. And that's a cracking result. And that's going to... Surely, that's a nice sight, isn't it? Our second win in the Asia Pacific League then. Joining the silverware of the 1-2 from the first race of last season. And we just need to learn to do this on a regular basis. And we can title challenge. We can challenge for a title. So it means Monroe, the debutant, in one race goes up to P4 in the championship. Eka climbs to P7. And... Christ, look at that. We now lead the Constructors' Championship in one race. From 7th to 1st. Long way to go. 8 races left of this season. And I'm sure we're going to have good and bad days still to come. But that's a huge boost for the team. And a huge boost for us. And for Monroe. I'd expect to see, yeah, his morale straight up. It doesn't improve. You'd think all this would improve at a higher rate if he'd won. But, hey, I'm not too bothered. Some good improvements. I want to point out quickly, before we wrap up and finish the episode, Carol Ann Ayer, who we brought in as the reserve, is doing a great job as well. And she's actually taking one of our cars for all the practice sessions because she's got great feedback. And I feel we've got 2 drivers there that are really going to push Eka hard. And it's going to be difficult to choose between them. So just a tip there. I think we've got a good reserve as well. But we did the maximum all weekend. It's $1 million into the bank. And we end up with more money than we started the episode with, which is always a good thing to end on. We got a new gearbox for next time. And wow. Maybe it won't take another year for us to win this championship. Maybe it only takes 6 months. But anyway, leave your thoughts, helps and comments in the description, in the comments down below. Of course, I love hearing from you on this series. Haas Career Mode, there'll be a new episode on Monday. A little bit slower this week than I'd like. I really want to get that Haas mode up to 2 episodes a week. So I'm going to start. But I like having the feedback in between each episode. That's why I don't just record them in blocks. So I'll try and get 2 episodes of that up next week to make up for a little bit of a slower schedule this week. But I hope you guys enjoyed the race. If you're new to the series, of course, you can go back and watch the whole thing. 60 odd glorious episodes. There's a lot of people that do still watch through the playlist, and kudos to you guys. It's appreciated. You can hit the like button if you enjoyed the episode and are still enjoying this series. Lets me know that you are. And if you're new to the channel, you can always subscribe as well. So, from today, thank you very much, everybody, and I'll see you next time.